Hello, welcome to Off the Cuff. We're having Jessica today. Is it Moloney?
Moloney, yes.
Moloney. Okay. So I am excited. I'm really happy to have you on here today because I've been seeing you in the group that we're in together, Les Brown, and some of the things you've been saying, especially on the Zoom calls. And Les has been, speaking with you about, some of the things you're talking about, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, this girl, she's kind of like somebody to watch. And then you sent me a little bit of stuff, and I was like, is what is this? This girl, like you, when I looked at your stuff, I'm like, this girl's a powerhouse here.
Oh, yeah, it's like fun to like I love this group and just kind of like getting in there and like meet like the people that I've been meeting. It's been fantastic, and it's just like it adds to you, it fuels your fire and just want to keep going.
It's a great group. All right, I'm just actually I've got I'm learning some things here, so I'm trying to do a couple of things here at the same time. So I want to add, what did I do here? Okay, I don't know if I'm doing this. Okay. All right, I've learned how to put things down in the bottom, so
I see it, it's scrolling.
Okay, so I want to know, let's see. Okay, I've got questions here. How do I get to these questions? Okay, hold on. I'm learning here. These are going to get better. This
Go
is
for it. I'm not a tech person, so figure something out like this would take me forever. So
week one is done. Where I'm only in week 2, so this is not bad. Oh, what did I do? Oh no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay, we can stop scrolling that. And all right. I think this question here really will kind of elaborate a little bit, like, because I kind of see what's going on. And, I think people say, okay, you're a speaker. I think you're a speaker already, are you not?
well, I like to consider myself one, but I've never been on an actual stage.
Okay.
Because I've really only just started my business during this COVID era, so there really hasn't been much opportunity. So we're getting there.
So I'm going to correct you. I don't normally do this, but I'm going to correct you. There is lots of opportunity, just not on a physical stage. And you're going to be on that stage. It'll be a virtual stage, and then in the future, I see you on stages. So what is it that makes you want to be a speaker? So there we go to the question.
Okay. So I've been a licensed mental health counselor for about 10 years now, and I've been doing what I do in various community settings and private practice. And, between like my professional experience and some of my personal experiences more recently, I really wanted to kind of combine those and start sharing them in more of like a public place, to be able to kind of give my message to the masses. And I feel like, a great way to reach people is through speaking engagements, because not everyone's coming to therapy and not everyone's coming to me for therapy, So I've also started this empowerment coaching business to be able to, again, reach more people and be more hands-on, to be able to like make the changes happen, because I've talked about them for years, and some people are great with that and they do really well. Other people need a little bit more. So if I can get on a stage or get into like a groove with somebody in a very different way, I feel like I could really deliver a message of positivity and motivation. And I also know that there's another me out there that probably needs to hear this sooner than I kind of figured it out for myself. Because I mean, there's so many people out there right now just feeling stuck, feeling lost in a sense, comparing themselves to others, not feeling worthy, not taking care of themselves, and like really feeling the kind of consequences of those choices without even realizing what kind of choices that they have. So again, for me to be able to get in front of people and be able to speak and share my message and, encourage people that like you don't necessarily have to follow all the rules. That might sound bad, but I mean, like, I feel like, like you do everything right, and then do you get everything you're supposed to get from that? Not always. Right. So being able to, like, be true to themselves, and again, get this really message out there. Cool.
So I hear, what you said there about not following the rules and it sounding bad, but I think what you really mean is getting outside the box and doing things differently. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, because when I was growing up, right, the expectation was you finish high school, you go to college, you get a job, and then you work in that career forever, right? And I don't know if that was a rule or the box or whatever we want to call it, but yes, to be able to know that, like, if you have this burning desire, if you have an interest outside of the box, that maybe that's an okay thing. Maybe you can make that work, and being able to help people recognize what it is that they possess within them to make that work, because I think, for me, I didn't choose to do things that weren't like the expectation because I didn't believe in myself to be able to make it happen on my own. Right. So I was like, well, if I just do this, then it should get me where I'm supposed to be. Right.
Yeah. No, I get it. The thing is, um, you know, society changes over time. So the expectations or the norm at, different times throughout history have changed. And we're in a time, especially with this craziness, like I say craziness of the pandemic, because things really changed. It kind of got crazy with what do we do now, right? So
Absolutely. I mean, like, I hit that too, and I had to show up every day and help everybody else going through the same things that I was going through at the same time. So it was a very weird experience. But
it
yeah,
is.
COVID has really, like, changed a lot of people, some for the better, which is amazing. Some it just really helped them see what was right in front of them that they didn't really want to see or they didn't choose to see because it was easy to go through the day to day. I get up, I go to work, I do my thing, and I come home, and everything else is just fine the way it is
Yeah,
because I don't want to deal with it. Now I'm going to
for sure.
force you to be in lockdown. You can't look away.
For sure. There was a time when my kids are all grown up, but there was a time when my kids were, in the teenage years, and I looked forward to going to work just to be like some sanity. So I get that 100%. And I'm seeing this time right now, you have people, and I'll say people that a similar in our group, in this Les Brown group, I see people that have taken this time to grow, develop, expand on what they're doing, and really, go somewhere and have, more to their life. And then I see the other side of people in society. I mean, it's terrible, the depression, and they don't know what to do, and this giving up. And I was talking to Nasser Dean the other day, and I loved his message. It's don't give up, like keep going, even when other people are saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And questioning, and why don't you just give up? Like stop that, so but these other people, they're not even getting the questioning, that they're the ones doing it to themselves. And Les in the group talks a little bit about that and why it's such a really great need right now for people like us wanting to get out there and get a message and share and help empower people in general and lift them up to, feel better, be better, and all those other wonderful things we're going to be doing in the future, and lots are already doing. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited for that for everybody.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, like, you're talking about the people who are being productive and the people who are really struggling with their depression. And like, as you're talking, I'm like, oh my God, these are both me. Like, in the beginning, I had some serious, like, adjustment issues, like a lot of anger. I mean, I have two little kids. So, like, there was a big transition for them as well. And I didn't have any time anymore to be able to do anything because they were always home. Right. So, like, I, really struggled with that transition, and then even being able to pull myself out of that into, like, dedicating more time to myself and making things a little bit more of a priority. Small changes, but sometimes they can go a long way, and that's what I try to help my clients with, and being able to recognize one little thing that can maybe add to your life or take away a little stress, and I feel like that's where we all have to start.
I think it's very difficult for women that are working and then transitioning to working from home and having small kids, because not only before, there was the daycare and they could take them to daycare, go to work, but then all of a sudden there was no daycare and they, are home and they're still having to work and there's no daycare and the husbands are possibly home as well trying to work. Like my sister-in-law has two grown-up daughters still living at home but working from home, and the one says, okay, I'm going to go on a meeting, like everybody's got to be quiet, and my sister-in-law is like, I got to tiptoe around the house. I just can't imagine having young kids and trying to do these things.
Sometimes my daughter will cry at my door. She'll be like, "Mama," and I have to apologize because I have my clients on on these video chats, and it's just, I mean, listen, it's real life, Sometimes, I think everyone's adjusting to that at this point. It's been a year, right?
Yeah,
So there's an expectation, like life exists, when we're
for
not
sure.
in an office or wherever else.
So I'm going to give a tip to anybody who's watching that does do just live videos or Zoom meetings. One of the things that I'm in another group and they taught this, and it's really helpful. Though I'm not sure about meetings if they're able to do this, but definitely a live video like this right now. So my one cat just jumped up on the chair behind me, and he wasn't noisy. I don't think he was noticed, but if he had jumped up on my lap, because I do have a couple that like to do that, or get in front of my camera and knock things, my papers everywhere. Did that on the one video, anyways. And but the tip is addresses, like, my cat wants to make an appearance, so say hello, and then I can try to move the cat out of the way, or I'm gonna have him stay on my lap or whatever. I think it's helpful, and actually, I think it was Nasruddin said he was watching one of my videos and the cat jumped up, and he said it was the funniest thing in the video and he loved it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that hopefully that'll help somebody out there. I have a question that's not in the things here. You talk about having clients, and you said something earlier. Did you say you're a therapist?
Yes, I'm a licensed mental health counselor in New York.
Oh, nice, nice, awesome. Um, so you're probably seeing a lot of this depression and what's going on.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, there's been an influx of calls, since last March. And, people are struggling in so many different ways, on every end of the spectrum. And like I said, like in the early stages transitioning into it, it was a very unique experience for me because I was feeling all these things too. And I mean, I still am, but we've been here for a little while, so it's a little bit easier. But that was a very new experience for me to feel the same things a lot of my clients were feeling. But you know what? Like, I kind of owned that, and I said, like, yeah, like this is kind of crazy. Like, yeah, this is really stressful. Like, I feel that a lot. But through that, and recognizing where we can challenge some of our thoughts and some of our fears, I think was, you know, a really like productive way to kind of even help myself through it, but yes, I mean, there's been so many people with so many different thoughts, feelings, and emotions about what has been going on over the last year, and we're all just trying to overcome it and find a place, because I mean, the idea of taking care of your physical health has been, been bombarded by this message for a year. And, it was really, obviously it's important, but your mental health is also really important. And a lot of people who aren't taking care of their mental health are struggling in so many different ways that we need to maybe reevaluate what that balance really looks like. Because if you're not taking care of your mental health, you're in a sense, you're risking like a decrease in your immunity. You're risking an increase in like any kind of physical ailments that you may already have. Depression and anxiety can cause physical stress, and obviously the mental component of it, and being able to live your life in whatever capacity you possibly can right now, you need to have this like this space in your head to be able to do it. So I try to encourage my clients to recognize that, like, you taking care of you is also a priority. Your physical health obviously is important, but you matter too. Your mental
absolutely,
health matters.
absolutely. Oh, one of the girls I had on, I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been Moira was saying that. Actually, yesterday with Brianna, it was her books were about self-love and taking care of yourself. So, you know, these messages, and this is what I said to them, these messages really need to get out there. And more so, I think, now than ever, you know, with what's going on. So
For sure.
I just want to take a second. Actually, I'm gonna put this on the bottom of the screen if I can. Okay, is it working?
It's working.
Okay, there. I'm just putting this on the bottom because we are on YouTube, and I just would like, you know, some of these messages, like I said, they need to get. Oh wait, is that the one? Oh yeah, click and share. Okay, I couldn't see it. Yeah, I just want to make sure that, you know, people don't think sometimes to share these things, and you never know who's watching and who you're gonna like. So if it was me and I shared it and somebody else saw it and it helped them, like I might not know that. And you know, a lot of time people are on these platforms and don't realize that they're helping people. And I'll give a really good example in general. I was doing my own videos, different messages, and putting them out there on Facebook for the last at least year. And I've had people message me that I didn't know, and they were watching and they were saying things like, it made a difference. I had one girl say to me she was so depressed, didn't really know what she was going to do, and then became a real estate agent because she watched my videos.
Oh,
So
so nice.
yeah, you don't know. And I get to the point sometimes, like, you know, I was doing these videos and I'd be like, why am I doing these videos? Like, what's the point here? And then you get a message like that and you realize that's the point. You know, you're reaching people. So I definitely would like people to share. And if they're on Facebook, I have to work on the share part, because this is a new this is a new thing for me. Using this, it's called StreamYard, so it's new for me. Usually I just hit the go live, but I'm able to do cool things like put these banners.
Yeah, that's so fun.
It is, and I'm about fun. I love fun. So I'm gonna, you know, let people know on Facebook, you know, they can click your name and go follow you and check out some of your stuff that you're doing. And now that's gonna put some pressure on you to do some good stuff on your stuff on your page.
I know. I've been breaking out of my shell. I've been breaking out a little bit. It's good. It's good.
Well, that's awesome. So I'm going to ask you. Well, okay, let's go to something fun right for a second. I was thinking let's dig in, but let's do something fun. Let's see here. So here it is. What is something fun you like to do?
Something fun I like to do. I really enjoy like just spending time with my friends, honestly. Doing anything. I really like, I mean, I've been meeting so many new people, and like that's been really fun. And like the idea of like just having these conversations, because we don't really get them a lot nowadays. So
I'm loving doing this too. Like, it is fun for me. I'm having a blast doing this. And at first I was like, oh, I got to interview people, and I was a little nervous about doing it. And then all of a sudden, you know, I did one and I'm like, that was fun. And and I did a second one and I'm like, that's really fun. And I'm just loving it.
yeah, that's awesome. I know, like being able to connect with, like people, like even just like Clubhouse. I've met so many amazing people, which I mean, that's why I'm in this group. That's why how like we met. Yeah,
That's how I got in there too.
the idea of talking to people is just like so exciting nowadays. So I love that. I also like really love like the beach, and I like to go snowboarding, and you
Oh,
know,
nice.
like I like to just like have some fun, you know, relax and like not have to like think or worry about things, you know. So I like to be active. I like to get out. I like to be outside. Try to go to the gym as much as I can. It doesn't always work out, but
I'm struggling. So the gym's too far away for me to go every day or every other day. It's a half-hour drive, and I know that like some people might say, "Oh, that's an excuse." But you know, I've got an elliptical here, and you know, I there's a girl I'm going to interview her. Her name's Katuna, and she's a weightlifter. And I saw that or a body sculptor or whatever, and I saw that she got second place. And I'm, you know, kind of watching her a little bit. She's not in our group, but I'm like, oh, when I'm done with this group, that girl, I'm going to interview her. Like, this is
Yeah.
like, I so want to interview her. And I'm sure she will. But
Yeah.
anyways, okay, so let's do this fun one. If you had one wish, what would it be?
I feel like this one is like a really hard question.
It can be fun. It can
Like
be.
one wish. I mean, there's so many so many things. Um, I mean, I kind of I'm hesitant because I want COVID to be over, but I also like think that this is a really good growth period for people. So I want it to be over. I want the summer to be here and I want it to be over. I want to like go out and have fun and just like let the world be kind of at peace. I
that,
mean,
that's a good wish.
yeah, I mean, I also like, in like thinking about like the business side of my things, like I wish I knew then what I know now kind of thing,
I think
'cause,
we
like,
all do that.
yeah, right. I have this group that I started for empowerment. It's called the Empowerment Academy. And like I had a friend reach out to me who's in it and she's like, Jess, like I needed to hear this when I was in my 20s. And I was like, I know, girl, me too. Like, so why I'm telling people now. Because I don't know if I never heard it or if I just didn't listen to people, because that's a possibility. But yeah, that's a wish. A world peace.
Now you're going into more than one wish.
I have one. I need three. I need like
I
a genie in
know.
a bottle. I need three wishes.
I love nail polish, and that's like somebody saying, if you could just have one, what would it be? I'm like, like I actually have clear on, but anyways.
I just mine off. But that's actually a wish. I wish that I could just have my nails painted all the time and I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Oh, I can help you with that. All right. So you said something about a group. Is this a paid group? People have to pay to be in, or is it free? Is it on Facebook? Is it something else?
Right now I have a free one. It's called the sorry, Empowerment Academy, and it's on Facebook. I will be actually starting a paid version of it though, which will have a little bit more content, a little bit more of like an educational, interactive format. But right now it's total freebie, so if you want to just look
Nice.
for it, you can find it.
I'm trying to put it in, and I spelled academy wrong. And I'm trying to fix the spelling. Oh, are you very good? Oh, I think I have two C's in there. That's what's wrong. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put that up so people can see. Did that work? There we go. Look at that, on the fly. I'm getting better every day.
Look at you. Yeah, you're quick with it.
The empowerment. Oh, I did spell it wrong. Wow, wow. They know what I'm trying to say. Academy.
One thing.
One thing at a time. I can't. Oh, I got to take it off the screen. I'm like, I can edit it. I don't know how now, but anyways.
Don't worry.
Okay, so now let's see here. Oh, I'm having so much fun. I kind of losing track of where I'm at. I have these in case, I can see we have viewers too, by the way. So thank you who's on here and watching. So I have these I don't know why I've got this little frog at my throat today. So I have these pre-planned kind of questions. I don't always ask them all, and there's 10 of them. So I'm just kind of looking at what we have. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, take your time. No worries. I can imagine I know talking all day is exhausting because I do it for hours too.
If you ever get a chance on Clubhouse, look for Peter Love. He does voice coaching. Oh, he is incredible. He'll bring you on stage and just like do stuff. I'm gonna write this down. Peter Love. I believe that's his name. Okay. Add. There we go. I got to bring it on. There. Peter Love.
And right.
Anyways, his last name's Love for sure. I'm pretty sure it's Peter Love.
Great.
Oh, sorry, it's not Peter, it's Roger. See, I knew it wasn't quite right. It's Roger Love. He's a voice coach, and I've been telling everybody about this guy. I've been in his room a couple of times just listening, learning. Like, one of the things I learned was he actually says you can speak all day, 24 hours a day, without losing your voice. And the trick, he says, is so breathe in and you can feel that breath in, speak on your breath out. Never speak. I just did it. Don't speak on the breath in. Speak always on the breath out, and you should be able to speak 24 hours a day, which is cool. And if, like for me, if you're dry, it's because you're already dehydrated. He says drinking water actually doesn't help. Because the water doesn't go down the same. Your vocal cords are in a different one. So the water actually goes out to all your organs and everything else in your body before it goes to your vocal cords. So I need to work on drinking more water consistently.
Same. I have my big old water bottle here that I really struggle with.
See the things you learn on Clubhouse. I have invites too. If anybody's watching and wants some, they can send me a message. Oh, I see comments. Oh, something's happening here. Oh, Brandon has a question. What's your question? Okay, speak more about you. Okay, I'm not sure. I didn't catch that you said this, but he says this is so cool. Oh, and he's watching on YouTube because it's got the little YouTube symbol. This is new for me. Thank you, Brandon, for asking this question. So he's saying, can you speak more about your humanitarian projects and why you do what you do? Do you have? I don't know if I missed something, or you're just speaking in the future about for humanity and being on stages.
Yeah, I don't really have any current projects. I mean, like, I went to the beach the other day to pick up trash with my kid, but that was just like to help out. But
That's a humanitarian. I can't talk now. Humanitarian project. That's
yeah,
needed.
we do that on occasion. I just feel like it's a nice thing, and I get to be at the beach for like an hour. So, but is it why I do what I do? Is that what he wanted to know?
And what? So let me put it back up.
Sorry. Why you do what you do? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so maybe he's meaning why you do what you do. I'm gonna say like with the speaking and probably what we were talking about earlier, which is actually in my list of questions that I've now lost.
That's okay.
Okay.
I can share.
But I do have the paper ones. Let me look.
I love paper. I'm like a paper and pen kind of gal. Like it's like so much easier for me to just like stay organized.
It is. Boom. It's right here. Like, no finding it, right? It's cool that I was able to bring up the comments. I was trying to figure out how to do that. Anyways, he's saying they're humans. Okay, so let's see. Question. It kind of tied into, I wanted to go back to basically what your message is. And, Les Brown asked us to do, I say 1, 3, and 5 minutes. I don't know, like sometimes people say things and then I make things up on my head. So I don't know if that's actually what he said, but that's what's in my head. 1, 3, and 5 minute kind of messages. So you can pick whichever, but you do have a message. We all have a message. That's why we're in that group. I'm still working on mine. There goes that voice again.
Oh, you poor thing.
So I'm still working on mine. And anyways, I have seen some videos in there. I'm pretty sure you have something you can share.
For sure. I mean, like I have my story. I have a few of them, but really quickly, I've had a lot of my own struggles with anxiety and depression. I've had, really difficult experiences inside of my relationships. I struggled a lot with self-esteem and my self-worth and, really losing myself in this idea of what I'm supposed to do and finding myself in a very toxic relationship that I'm recently freeing myself from. But my message is really like, just because like you've always been this way, it doesn't mean you always have to be this way. Like I talk to a lot of people who just end up staying where they're at or staying complacent with themselves and their life because it's just how it is. And I can relate to that. Like I can understand that mindset and that feeling, but like we are all capable of change. We're all capable of creating something more in your life. And I'm a big fan of personal growth. I think that everybody should always be growing in some way. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. It's not that you have to change something like wrong about you. It's not that you have all these weaknesses that like you need to improve upon, but you have these strengths that you need to build upon. And I think that that's such an important thing, that like, living life in forward motion and being able to recognize that your current circumstances don't determine your future. The past is very much a part of you, and it has gotten you to this point, right? But what comes next is kind of up to you. Like, I understand that there are some extenuating circumstances, of course, that will always pop up for us. But the choices you make now will determine who you become from here on out. And that's a lesson it took me a long time to learn, that, like, I need to stop and recognize cycles of thoughts and behaviors that I'm engaging in so that I can stop self sabotaging. Because if I keep doing the same things, I'm going to get the same results. And if you're like me, you're like, why does this keep happening to me?
Everywhere I go, there I am. Right?
For sure. And
And
it's daunting and it's exhausting and it's defeating. But if you can take a few minutes to kind of practice a little bit of self-awareness, recognize what are your values? What are the things that are important to you? And do you have those in your life? Or are you kind of operating that way? Like they say, like if you want to be the CEO and the janitor, you need to show up every day like you're the CEO, right? Like if there's a version of yourself that you want to be, you just start kind of acting that way, so that you can kind of rake in those good feelings that come along with it, and being able to portray this and own this and know that this is something that like you're going to get, not something that you just aspire to be.
I
And I
like
think
that. I
thanks.
like that. Something you're going to go get. Like, there's no question. You're going to get that. Love
Yeah.
that.
I think we all have dreams like, oh, I wish I could do this or I wish I could do that. And that's why it's so hard for me to answer your wish question. But the
um,
things that you're gonna do are different.
yes, that was excellent. So I'm going to put this up. Brandon has another question. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, but he's asking, what is the greatest struggle that you face, and how do you persevere keeping a genuine persona with your children? That's an interesting question.
That's a great, Brandon. You're gonna get me out, make me go all deep
he's
here.
putting you on the spot for sure.
The greatest struggle that you face, and how you
He's
push.
actually quite a he's coming across he's coming across very serious, but I'm going to tell you something. This is he's my son, and he's very funny. He's almost a comedian. I tell him you can be on a stage doing a stand up. So you can answer this in any way you want. So I
Well, my
should leave it up.
my greatest struggle now is like time, honestly. But I feel like everybody struggles with that. Honestly, like over the last couple of years, my greatest struggle was actually in my marriage, and not really choosing myself first and not being happy with who I was or where I was at. And I do think that my children felt that in some way, and me, I hit a really like low place after I had my son. And from there, I recognized that I need to start seeing what I can do on my own to show myself that I can do it, and through these challenges, through this like practicing of self awareness, through recognizing what it is that I could do and that I don't have to feel guilty about it. I don't have to hold myself back just because somebody doesn't like what I'm doing. That it just because like you disapprove of my choices, it doesn't mean that they're bad. It doesn't mean that I should keep sacrificing myself, and I mean it took a couple of years for me to really grow from that really like rock bottom place, but I can tell you about every level I hit on the way out just as much as I could tell you about every level on the way down, and my children, like, they're exposed to it because this is where we live, we're all kind of
Yeah.
here. But I think the best thing to do for me was to remind them about how much they're loved, to be very much in the moment when you're with your kids and not in your struggle, because the struggle is going to exist. It's in you, right? But you can also choose to kind of like put it to the side. Like I'll tell a lot of my clients, like to try to compartmentalize what it is that you're experiencing. This struggle that you're dealing with, like you need to sit and be purposeful with it and think about it, journal about it, feel about it, talk about it. But then when it's time to put it away, you just put it off to the side. You put it in a nice little box in your mind and it goes to the side so that when you are with your kids, you can try to be as much as you can for them in that moment. Be very mindful. Live in this moment right here, right now, and try to give it your all. And then, after that moment is over and you have to go do something else, you try to do the things you need to do. And then these thoughts will pop up of the struggle, or you'll be triggered by something. And then we either choose to kind of take that box off the shelf and try to deal with it and cope with it, or we leave it there knowing that, like, I'm going to come back to this because I need to deal with this. I need to feel this and I need to try to work through this. Not get over it, but like work through it so that I don't have to kind of keep carrying this big box around. It might just get smaller, it might not go away, but this big thing on your shoulders, it is a burden. And like, I mean, I've cried in front of my kids and like, I hate doing it, but it's happened. But I also normalize that. Like, it's okay to feel things, it's okay to have your emotions. And this is how we deal with it, and we try to, work our way out of it. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents.
I love that you said that because a lot of people don't realize that the box thing you're talking about. So I was one of those people for 50 years, all the negative, I just pushed it aside, pushed it aside. I never dealt with it. And I realized I was doing a course and I realized in the middle of this course doing a video in the group that I broke down crying and I couldn't finish the video. I couldn't even speak because I realized these negative thoughts were always still there and I never dealt with them and I needed to actually deal with them. And I was speaking with, I think it was Moira about it and the fact that, um, you know, I needed to, so what it was I didn't think I didn't value myself. I didn't think I was worthy kind of this self-love. And when it just hit me like a ton of bricks and I wasn't dealing with it. It's like I just always push aside. My husband say things to me and I'd be like, okay, whatever, but like inside I didn't believe, like he would say how proud he is of me. He could say all these things, but inside I wasn't feeling these things about myself and I didn't believe them. And I realized all these years, like I was just like pushing this stuff aside and not dealing with it. And all of a sudden I realized that's what I was doing. I knew I wasn't valuing myself, but somehow it just came out that day. I was like, wow, like it just hit me like a ton of bricks. So, sure, like you said, this box is there and you can set it aside and work on it different times and or however they're going to decide to do it. I love how you talked about that and the fact that this box is there and it can get smaller, maybe get rid of it, but maybe not. Like maybe it's always going to be there, but it's something you can work with. So I love that you actually brought that up and said that. And one more thing. So I love what you said too about making sure your children know that you love them. And that is 100% one thing I've always have done. And I'm going to embarrass Brandon because Brandon, I love you. And they never, ever leave without me telling them I love them. They never, ever leave without a hug and a kiss goodbye. And they reciprocate. They're happy to reciprocate. I think they're happy now, maybe not so much as teenagers, but it's not even an issue that they're not going to do it. It's they're going to do it. And that they know that love is there. And my oldest son actually, we had a conversation one time about it. And he said, Mom, that is one thing I never, ever felt not loved. You made sure. So I love that you're doing that with your children too, that you're making sure they feel loved because we need that and our children need that.
Sure. Yeah. And, I'm kind of giving them a little extra right now because, I mean, you spoke about how you felt really supported through your journey of like self-love. My story was a little bit differently. I was kind of I kept getting pushed back down. Like, you shouldn't do that. Like, no, like, don't, like, you're wrong, and, I'm actually in the process of kind of like ending my marriage and kind of choosing to not stay in that type of relationship. And, that was the hardest part about it all, for me and my kids, to know that like I could go on this journey and I can like develop this sense of self, and that other people don't always kind of align with it because they feel in a sense that their safety is being threatened, like this is just what I know, and like you are changing, knock it off, because it disrupts the status quo, so I mean,
Yep.
tried to do a lot of things and, kind of just like pushed back down, you shouldn't do that, don't do that, like you're made to feel guilty about it. But knowing that, like, even if you are, in a place where like somebody is making you feel badly about what it is that you want to do for you, that maybe that's, a red flag, if you will, a sign to watch out for. That if you're growing and you're changing and you're taking care of yourself, that should be encouraged. That should be praised,
Yeah.
and I think we need more of that, and I'm glad to see that it does exist.
I think too, like, so relationships are difficult, and sometimes the other person, so one person is growing, the other one's sitting there worried that actually you're growing too much. They feel these feelings inside themselves that maybe they aren't feeling, like they're good enough, or and then they start to worry, well, this, she's going to leave me because she's growing, and whatever feelings and thoughts they have. But I think one of the best things, and then of course every situation is different, and like maybe they're just an ass. But I think one of the best things to do is have an honest conversation with them,
Mhm.
before it gets to the blow up point, before it gets, but I think, so in the past I've had conversations with my husband. He doesn't understand why I do things,
Mhm.
and I just say, I'm doing this because this makes me feel good, or I'm doing this because I just want to improve on this for myself, or I go play baseball once a week because I need to get out and get exercise. That, like, it's the silliest thing. Sometimes we have these arguments about, like, why are you going to baseball every week? And I'm like, this is why. And then he's always, what I love about him is when we have our conversations, he always seems to take that time to stop and think about it. And usually the next day or a couple of days or even a week later, he'll be like, okay, I get it. And it's completely different after that. So I feel blessed and lucky that he's willing to do that, because other
Yeah.
people, may not. And, which causes all that friction, right? And then,
Right. But that's even good for him, like to be able to kind of like self-reflect like that and recognize that like maybe his reaction to your passion project or whatever it is that you want to call it, maybe was just a little bit like out of proportion, right? But I think that that's a really valuable place to be in a relationship too, to know that like, if your partner is doing something that you don't agree with, or they're taking time away from you, or uh, whatever it is that like you're not feeling great about it, why don't you feel good about it? Why are they choosing to do this? Is it to hurt you? Probably not, right? And being able to recognize not only how you feel, but like how the other person feels, and then being able to kind of like mix all that together and come up with like a conclusion. How do I want to handle this? What do I want to do with this? And not everybody's always going to be on the same page.
I'm going to put this out here for Brandon. Brandon, ask a fun question.
Uh,
A fun one. Okay. So, uh, I don't think I asked you this yet. We're really off the cuff here today. So do you have a favorite quote, and who said it?
I do. I have a lot of quotes. Honestly, like I really used to live my life by quotes. It helped me get through a lot of stuff because it helps me like formulate my thoughts and feelings with somebody else's words. Like sometimes I can't, well, I used to not be able to, and sometimes I still struggle with being able to express like how it is that I feel. So I would read quotes and I would print quotes out and I would put them on my walls and things like that because I'm like, oh yes, like that resonates. That means something. So, a couple months ago, as I was kind of starting my business and venturing into this level of empowerment outside of a therapy office, I go to work and then I work for me. And then I go to work, I work for me, and I take care of my kids, and I'm always just doing things. And it's exhausting. But I heard this and I was like, oh my God. I like looked around. I was like, who knows? This is how I'm feeling right now. But it's don't work 8 hours for a company, then go home and not work on your own goals. You're not tired, you're uninspired.
Ooh,
Boom.
wow. Wow.
It's like reality hit me.
It's
Uh,
true. Like you're just uninspired. I've been there. I'm sure a lot of people have just, that's wow. That's a really great one. Now, so is this a quote, something, you know, is this a quote from somebody else or is this something you were doing that this is original from you?
no, no, no. This is Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Oh,
I like him a lot. He has a lot of good like quotes. I think he's just like very like well, he's very determined and very focused and very like I think in touch with kind of like who he is and what he wants in life. So a lot of the things that he says resonates with me. Um, but it's true. And like I've said this to like people that I've worked with before in a different way, of course. But like if you're like when people say like I don't have time for it, like or I'm too tired, like changing that language into like I'm choosing not to do this, like I'm making a choice, right? Like this morning I was going to go to the gym, but I made a choice to be here because this right now is a priority for me, doing things like this. And that's what it is, it's priorities. So again, like I've a ton of clients that have had excuses for me why they can't do things, and I'll challenge them a little bit like, well, is it a priority for you? Do you really not want to do it? Or is it really that something else is getting in the way? And being able to redefine that for yourself and begin to change the language that you use with yourself can make a world of difference. Because you're uninspired.
I
People want to
love how you're
they want to lose weight.
I love how you're digging in and looking for yourself, that like questioning yourself, because I do the same thing. I'm like I'm gonna go back to the elliptical thing. It's like exercise and working out. It's like I gotta dig. It's like, why don't I want to do this? Like, so I do that, but I'm still not getting on my elliptical regularly, and it's frustrating me. And I'm like, I'm probably spending more time being frustrated about not doing that if I actually did.
Right? I know. I say try to think about this moment and the next. Like I used to get up at like 5 in the morning to go to the gym. And like when I first started that routine, I would sleep in my workout clothes because I hated getting up in the cold winter and having to change my clothes.
I love that.
But I did it. I got there. You know what? And like, even now, like struggling to get to the gym or doing a workout or something, like I don't want to maybe, but I know that when I'm done, I'm gonna feel great. I know that
Absolutely.
if I choose to do this right now, that like I'm gonna be healthier or I'm gonna lose the weight or I'm gonna do whatever else that like you want. Because like in this moment right now, maybe I don't wanna do it, but once I get there, it's gonna be great. Like, I mean, I enjoy working out. I really love it. I think that there's so many benefits to it. So like when anybody tells me they want to work out, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But think about not only getting on the elliptical, but why you're getting on the elliptical. What are you gonna get out of it? I don't choose
Absolutely.
to do things necessarily because I want to do them. I choose to do things because of what I'm getting out of it. And I don't know if that might sound bad, but like we're all of our choices have consequences, either
Yeah.
positive or negative. So we're gonna get something out of it, whether we like it or not.
Absolutely. So I have a question. What is something you are looking forward to doing in the future that would be anything you're looking forward to?
Oh my God, so many things. Um, I'm looking forward to getting on a stage. I really am, and being in front of like people. I just like people. Like Zoom is great and stuff, but like just being around people and being able to interact with them like live and just like have these questions. Because I feel like I feed off of people. I always have, whether it be like their emotions, like if somebody's angry, I'm going to feed off of that. If they're sad, I'm going to feed off of that. If they're pumped and happy and excited, like I feed off of that too. So I'm looking forward to getting back out into the world and being able to, be on a stage and share my message. I mean, I'm looking forward to the summer, honestly, and being able to just be outside more. I'm looking forward to more freedom in my life. Going through this very challenging time period that I'm on the edge of now, and like other things that I've really experienced through my life and never really feeling good enough or worthy. And now having that, it's like a brand new feeling to feel completely free in a sense, to own who I am and to not have to worry about what everybody else thinks. I mean, some people I worry, but there's still that like doubt. Like I'll like redo a reel, or like I'll retake a selfie sometime. Like, listen, like we all have our self doubt and insecurities, but it's like in such a place now where I can just like own it and not necessarily worry about comparing myself to somebody else, not necessarily worry about somebody else's opinion, not necessarily worry about the little things anymore and struggling, to fit in. I spent so many years just trying to fit in. Like
Yeah.
I'm tall, like so I've always been like somebody who's like taller than a lot of my friends. Like I remember being younger and being like, I just want to shrink. Like I just wish that I could go into a machine and be smaller.
So how tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
Oh, I have a friend that's about that height. She looks like she's a good foot taller than me.
I have some like shorter friends, so it's funny, but I mean, I grew out of that one a little bit quicker. So like I really enjoy wearing high heels too. So like I'll go out in my heels, my friends will be in their flats, and I'll be like, all right, girls, let's do it.
My friend used to wear flat shoes just because she was so tall. I don't know if she's ever wore heels. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah, but now I'm
Um,
doing it. It's like my some of my body armor, my high heels, like my confidence builders.
so when I looked at your stuff, I saw this.
Yeah.
And like I looked at that, I went, wow, how exciting. And I'm like, I think I need a journal.
Yeah, it's
And
gonna be awesome.
it is the Breakthrough, a self-guided empowerment journal. Can you just let us know a little bit more about, like, what would, if I bought that journal, what kind of thing would I expect to see in there? Like, can you just kind of
Yeah.
give me a little tidbit on that?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief because honestly, I'm really excited about this because
Oh, for sure.
I work with people all day about going through these journeys of like self-discovery, and this is very much like a guided activity-based journal with room for notes and goals and things like that. So like if getting this journal, it will take you on the journey of self-empowerment. It will help you kind of understand this version of yourself that you are now, this who am I, this why it is that you're here right now, because we all have a why. Why do you want to be here right now? Why do you want to change? Like, why are you striving for more? And I think that that's such an important part of self-discovery and self-awareness. I talk a lot about self-awareness, and people are like, what does that even mean? Like, how do I be self-aware? So
Yep.
some of the activities in the journal will help you. It will help kind of like really face maybe some of those past things that we haven't dealt with, that we need to just kind of like throw away. It will
Yep.
help you kind of like, again, explore this sense of self that you already are. It'll help you kind of look at the way your life is like lined out right now, and if that's the way you want it to be, and helping you understand your values, and breaking out of these negative cycles. And there's a section for goal setting. There's a section for like each piece of your life goal setting,
Nice.
guides you a little bit on what those goals need to look like. And then it has like a daily like check-in. So there's like a page, and it will have the date up top. It'll ask you a few questions about your day and help you kind of like establish a mindset of, I'm here in this moment, and this is what I've done good for myself. I'm sharing my wins, but I
Yep.
also know that I'm going to keep going. And I'm recognizing what it is that I need to do every day, what action plan that I'm taking to grow and to reach those goals. Because goals they're a hard thing, because they're these big things at the end of the road that are like intimidating and like scary, and like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get there, but they're good to have, right? Everyone wants you to have goals. But
Hmm.
the thing I want you to focus on is the details, the steps that are going to get you there, because that's where like the gold really is. That's where the sprinkles of gold are.
So your journal will help with the small steps in getting through to the bigger goals.
Yes, 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 yes.
Nice.
Sorry. I could go.
Well, and I put this quote up of yours. Just because you've always been this way doesn't mean you always have to be this way. And ultimately, it sounds like your journal will help someone self-develop to become better as well through these goals, and through like one big goal. Okay, I want this, small goals, and it kind of just ties right into what you said. And I think you said this in the group with Les Brown.
Yeah, I gotta actually add that one. I have a couple other of the videos, but that was a newer quote that I gotta still make my video.
And before we go, I just want people to know this, your platforms, you're known as the Jess Moloney on all your platforms.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you usually use a, like, do people usually call you Jessica or Jess or
Um,
both?
it depends. Like all my friends will call me Jess, but when I'm asked to introduce myself, I always just go with Jessica because I don't know, it's just like a habit, I guess. But
Well, I mean, that's your name.
yeah, you can call me Jess. We're girlfriends now.
I go by Christine or Chris. I don't really care. But I have a sister, Jessie. Sometimes I call her Jess, but yeah, I just thought I'd ask. And then if they want to look, I went and looked. Now I can't remember what I saw on there when I looked. And it's funny because I'm blanking right out, because I went and I looked and I went, oh, okay. I like this website. I remember like it was really, like it was well done. I really liked going there. And then
Oh.
was there things for sale on there? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, it's still kind of in the works, but on there you can see all my coaching packages. You can also, the journal will be up there. I have a couple of other little things. I have a candle line. It's like, oh my God, these scents are amazing for just like aromatherapy. I think, that's a really huge component of self-care, that like we can have like a candle burning at any point. And like, if you could just stop and take a breath, like the breath obviously is a moment of like self-care, but like
Yep.
also aromatherapy like around you, I think, can really work wonders. It has for me, which is why, I wanted to do that. And then I have like some empowerment bracelets on there. So like little things, but
Did see that.
yeah.
Because I was like, oh, she's got these bracelets. Oh, how cute, with the little quote on it.
Yeah. I feel like, we need a little symbol, right? Like I was talking about my high heels before, like not that I get to wear them anymore, but
You,
the idea of having a little something on you that just makes you feel good. It gives you a sense of whether it be confidence or empowerment or security or love, just like a little symbol. Because I
yep.
mean, I'm a visual person too. So like seeing things that remind you of your worth or remind you of what you're doing,
Yep.
So whether it be a journal that you're looking at and working on, or something you're wearing, or a quote in your room, piece of decor, I think that those are really valuable little reminders.
You know what? You just helped me with something, because so I have this little side business selling nail polish, but it's not about the selling the nail polish. It's about getting it on people's hands and having them feel good. And when you said that, it clicked in my head as like, yeah, like because I'm going, I don't know why I love wearing this nail polish so much. Like it makes me feel good, but it's that visual reminder, like self-care, self-love. And that, it just clicked in me when you said that. I'm like, that's what it is. And
Yeah.
so I'll go for free and paint people's nails, because I want them to feel good too. And if they buy, they buy, and if they don't, they don't. I don't care. It's not what it's about. So,
Yeah.
and I want to mention too, now that you told me it was on the website, it's coming back. The bracelet, I did look, and I'm like, it was so reasonably priced as well. I was like $13.99. Like, that's really good price for something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of affordable. I'm not like, I don't think that self-care, well, I know that self-care doesn't necessarily have to be a luxury thing. Like you want to go get $100 massage, like yeah, go do that. I did that. And it's worth it. It's nice. But I'm not doing that every day. I'm not doing that every month. I would like to. But, like there's times where you're going to invest in yourself, and that's important and that's worth it. And there are
It,
other times that you're just maybe investing your time, and that can be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be anything, and there are a lot of ways to use your time that you already kind of use right now, just a little bit more mindfully. One thing I actually didn't tell you, I do have this amazing self-care bundle. It's all like viral. It's a video series, it's some worksheets and some information about how to engage in self-care with less guilt and honestly in like less time. So if you do follow me on Instagram, the link is in my bio.
Okay, and this, they can't get that at this jessicamoloney.net. That's somewhere else.
I'm gonna have to link it.
I
The
am
website just went
now.
live like a couple days ago, so we're catching each other at a good time.
Well, I thank you. I thank you so much for being on here. I thank the viewers that have been here. I see them popping on and off. I appreciate them, watching and I actually try not to be this long, but I've enjoyed speaking with you so much, and we were so off the cuff, and it's been a pleasure for me to do this with you. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And thank you everybody who tuned in and watched. Like I said, I love connecting with people. So, Christine, I'm so thankful for your time and for inviting me to be here.
Awesome. You have a great whatever it is, wherever you are, to everybody out there, including you, Jessica.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.